Hello, everyone. Welcome to News Now, the Belmont Journal's daily news update on how the coronavirus health emergency is affecting the community of Belmont. I'm your host, Roger Colton. I have with me today Jim Davis, who is the athletic director for the Belmont Public Schools. We're going to talk about how the health emergency in the schools is affecting the athletes at Belmont High School. Jim, thanks for being with us. Let's just briefly touch on spring sports. Tell me what happened on spring sports.
Well, Roger, as you know, in the middle of March, we were actually gearing up. We had two teams that were still competing. Our cheerleading squad had advanced to the state championship, and our boys ice hockey team had advanced to the state championship. We were slated to play in the Boston Garden on the 15th of March, and we got word on the 13th that school was going to be closed, and here we are. So those events did not take place. Our girls cheerleaders were recognized as finalists, as were all the other cheerleading teams that in the state that advanced to the state championship. And our boys hockey team was named a co-state champion with their counterpart from Walpole. So that's how our spring ended. And our winter ended, and we got geared up for spring sports, and hopefully that some semblance of a spring athletic season was going to take place. During the time period when we were initially out, we actually worked through some modified schedules in the hopes that the spring season would have been saved. And then we learned later in April that the schools were going to remain closed for the remainder of the school year, and subsequently our spring athletic season was halted.
And to make it clear to folks, this really isn't Belmont's decision. This is an MIAA decision.
Yeah, so it really dovetails. As we know, the governor extended the stay-at-home order through the 18th of May, and also issued that schools would remain closed. So that just fell into place. The MIAA came out and basically said that they would not be able to run a tournament-type season, knowing that schools were not going to reopen, and hence just kind of followed in line with what the orders were from the Commonwealth.
I want to give you an opportunity to puff for a minute. How deep is the disappointment that the girls rugby team doesn't get a go for a four-peat?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, it's been difficult for all of our athletes. Those two winter teams that didn't get a chance to be in that last event was really difficult. That was tough news to share. I know our hockey coach got the news late Thursday afternoon when we found out that school was gonna be closed on that Friday. The kids had just come off of practice at the ice, and so that was heavy to take. And then our spring sports. We had done our signups. Spring is a time where everybody gets to get outside. We shed our winter coats, and the campus comes to life because everybody's outside and active. And so that was just another devastating blow to the hard work that not only our student athletes had put in, but our coaches, but probably more so for our seniors, right? Our senior student athletes that this have been their final season of high school athletics. And most of our student athletes, that will be it, right? They're not going to go on and compete at the collegiate level. This would have been their last hurrah. And so that is really, really heartfelt for them. We had really held out hope that we would have been able to come to school and have some semblance of a season. My colleagues in the Middlesex League work diligently on modified schedules, finding field space as we are challenged with that for some of our events. We did all that work. So as much as the kids were, still trying to be prepared for the hope that a spring season was going to take place, the athletic directors were doing this similar type thing. Even if it was, 1, 2, 3, 4 games, we wanted to give them the opportunity to get out there and do their thing that they have a love and passion for. So that was really, really difficult, a pill to swallow. Certainly, we understand the reasons why. Personal health is paramount at this point in time, and we wouldn't want to do anything that would compromise that for our staff or for our student athletes. But our hearts go out to those seniors. They've been affected by this, I would say, the most from a school setting. In the community, we're working through the graduation exercises, the senior week events that are taking place, and prom. All of those things have all been put on hold at this point in time.
Okay, let's look forward then, because there isn't a certainty that fall sports are going to proceed in any sort of normal fashion. Can you tell us what the plans are for the fall?
Well, I can tell you this, Roger. What we're currently doing right now is we are planning for the best, in the hopes that we will be back in school. Our fall schedule is up online. You'll notice on our website that our coaches have placed their tryout information is there, the dates and times and such. And we're actually working on 2 other things because we can't do an in-person sign-up. We're going to be doing some things virtually. The coaching staff is working on that. So we're anticipating that if everything goes as planned and we're back in school, that we'll be able to have some type of fall sports season. With that, there's always the caveat that it's going to be dependent on what those health guidelines are that come down from the state. I suspect that social distancing is going to be a part of any type of reopening plan, and that too will affect athletics. Part of what I've been doing now is thinking about what that would do from an impact standpoint, locker room access, sports that could potentially take place, and some that might have some challenges. I could see a golf team being able to go out and compete, but I think there may be some reservations relative to a football program or a soccer or field hockey program where there's close contact in those types of sports.
And I would think that high school sports would be no different from professional baseball or professional soccer, professional basketball, in that the notion of bringing large crowds together wouldn't seem to be on the horizon.
Yeah, I would be in agreement there. I think one of the things that if and when we do have our fall season come back, and we're hopeful that it will look a lot different, right? So it may be just our teams that will be out there competing against our opponent, and our games will be streamed or videoed and broadcast later, relying on folks from Belmont Media Center to make that possible and such. If we're able to have attendance at games, I think one thing that you'll see change is that we probably won't be selling tickets like the way we have done in the past. There will probably be an e-ticket where you'd have to buy it online and would scan it off your phone. Those are all things that are kind of in the play right now that we're looking at. And so, as I said earlier, we're hoping for the best, and we'll plan accordingly, and we'll have multiple contingency plans, just like we're looking at for a school day, if and when we're able to reopen.
And we want to think about the juniors, this year's juniors. You were talking about the seniors who missed their spring season, but there would be juniors who would be counting on next year to play into or to be the prelude to a collegiate career, perhaps.
Yeah, so as you may not know that this past spring, the NCAA canceled all of their spring tournaments and subsequently shut down their spring season. Therefore, they've also come out and they're allowing those seniors, if they want to come back, to have an additional spring season. So it will have an impact on the recruiting process. the number of kids that may opt to come back, and that will vary from institution to institution. But you're absolutely correct. The junior season, particularly for spring athletes and for our fall athletes, them going into their senior year are critical times if they're being considered to compete at the collegiate level. Particularly scholarship athletes that may be being considered to compete at Division I or II level, that's going to be paramount.
Now, there are club teams. The schools don't have anything to do with the club team, or I should put this as a question. What role, if any, do the schools have with the club teams that a lot of the really excellent athletes participate in?
So club sports are really for those kids that that also participate at the high school level, but may want to focus in on one or two sports and continue to their competition at a higher level, and gain national exposure by playing in various tournaments that take place typically during the summertime. I suspect that as the stay-at-home order is lifted and restrictions are lifted, that there'll probably be some semblance of those things coming back online. But as far as the high school's connection with them, we don't have a direct connection with them. Some of those programs are also dependent on access to school facilities. So if school facilities aren't open, then it will be extremely difficult for them to come back online as well.
We're talking about the impact on the kids, but as athletic director, you're in charge of the school athletic facilities as well. You alluded to this when you talked about club teams. Are the facilities open to the public? What are the plans for opening facilities, if at all?
So, Roger, that's a great question. As you know, the Belmont Department of Public Health has asked for all of the outdoor parks to be closed, and in so the school has complied. So if you notice, Harris Field and the track that's around Harris Field has been closed.
Right.
Access to our fields have certainly been closed. So the future of those will come out when the guidance comes from the State Department, and that will really lean heavily on the Belmont Health Department and Wes Chin with his guidance as to when and if those spaces can be opened up and people can gain access to them. So we're really working in a close with all of the stakeholders, whether it's police, fire, Department of Public Health. I follow the lead from the superintendent. He's really been having those conversations. Where we're entering into the summer months, I know people want to be able to get outside and such, so I'm hopeful that at some point in time those restrictions will be lifted. As far as our athletic program is concerned, we don't really have anything that would be going on those spaces during that time period, so it's really more for the general public at hand, and that's going to be determined through the health advisories that come out and the guidelines that the state and the town works through.
As the facilities are closed or are unavailable, and even with the loss of ticket sales, is there a revenue impact on the athletic department and on the public school system more broadly?
Yeah, so Roger, that's a great question, and that's really it dovetails with school committee policy as well as the financial piece that central office is looking at. I can tell you from our regular season athletic standpoint, part of our budgeting process does factor in gate receipts. That's a number that we're expected to bring in and contribute to the funding of the athletic program. That ranges between $45,000 to $55,000 a year through gate receipts.
And that's real money.
That's real money. That is real money. So those are people walking up, paying to come in and watch events and such. So if we go to a virtual type model, we'll certainly have to explore on how we may be able to recoup some of those dollars, whether it's a pay-per-view, what that might look like, I'm not sure. I'm hoping that we're not going to have to adjust the fees that we currently charge. We've been pretty steady in what our fee structure has been, and given the financial situation that we're all faced in now, every penny counts. So I would be very sensitive to that. But it is something from a district standpoint that we're certainly going to have to pay close attention to. And I know that Superintendent Phelan and our Director of Finance, Anthony DeCalagero, are certainly looking at that. There is a financial task force that is looking at the bigger picture from a budget standpoint, but these are also small areas that we also have to be cognizant of, because they will have an effect, an accumulative effect. If you look at programs such as the Lexington Chinese School that comes in and rents our facility, if that's not going to be able to take place and such. So there will be some of those types of impacts that potentially could unfold.
We've been speaking about athletics from the high school perspective, and yet you're the athletic director for the Belmont Public Schools. How does all of this affect I'm thinking of the middle school kids in particular? I think people would have an interest in hearing that it's not just our high school kids that are being affected.
Right. So in the middle school, we have, in the fall, we have a very vibrant cross-country program for the boys and girls at the middle school. We have upwards of 120 middle schoolers that participate in that program. And then we also have a boys and girls basketball program that takes place in the winter. And so, yeah, just like at the high school level, there will be a similar type impact depending on if schools reopen, if we're able to conduct those fall sports, and we're hopeful that we can, and leading into the winter. I thought what was interesting was the governor's comment earlier this week when he spoke about his love for basketball and not being able to actually get out and play on the basketball court because of the close proximity, just the way in which the sport is played. So he's longing for those days. I am longing for those days as well, seeing our youth out there and involved in activities that are physically challenging, but more importantly, that they have a love and a passion for. And I know that kids are hunkering to get back out there, and I'm in full support with that. And we'll do our part to make that happen, living within the guidelines and the guidance that we receive from our health officials in our state, and we'll work to find a way to make that happen.
There is now a phys ed requirement for, at least at the high school level, and the athletes use their participation to fulfill that phys ed requirement. How does all that fit together in the new world?
Yeah, so right now within the Belmont Public Schools, our high school students earn their physical education credit through our in-school program for their freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So it's really only the senior class that has the opportunity to either take a day program course in school. They can choose to do an independent study outside of school, or they can choose to participate in interscholastic athletics. Most of our kids had accomplished or fulfilled their phys ed requirement. Those that still needed to complete a spring sport in order to do that, we gave them a pass this spring. But as we move forward, if we're going to be out of school, if sports aren't going to be an option, then that will be part of the conversation that the administration will have as to how we go about providing opportunities for students to fulfill that. And it may be that they enroll in one of the courses that we have during the day program or through one of the virtual programs that we have. I'm not as concerned with that, Roger, because there's not a tremendous amount of students that would be affected, but there's a significant amount in which we have to be cognizant of that and make sure that we're providing them opportunities to succeed.
And I have one final question too. You sat down with the coaches of the spring sports to prepare a video for our senior athletes. Can you tell us what you did and why you did it?
Well, Roger, when we learned that our spring athletics season was canceled officially, our spring coaches had been in contact with our student athletes in the hope that we were going to have some type of spring season. And so we felt that it was only fitting that we be able to communicate with them and send a message to them that we were thinking and caring about them, that what team really defines is the fact that we lean on one another, we have each other's backs, and that just in an athletic theme, that even though we may have gotten some bad news, that all that meant is that we were just going to change our game plan. So maybe we weren't going out and being on the fields or on the track or on the tennis courts or on the pitch or on the lacrosse field, but there were still things that we could do to help and support one another as teams do moving forward. And so the coaches got together, we brainstormed, they each had a part in this. They're a tremendous group, and we wanted to send a positive message to our spring teams, but more specifically to those seniors, right? To let them know that we were thinking about them, and that although we're afar, they can still be the leaders that they've been their past 4 years in school and helping support their teammates and colleagues and maintain that, just in a different light.
Hey, Marauder Nation. So we caught some tough breaks this week, and the calls may not have gone our way, but we're still in this. We just need to adjust our game plan. Heads up, eyes here. All of you have what it takes to get through this. Together, anything is possible. We believe in you. We need you to support one another. Believe in your teammates and coaches. Have each other's backs. This is your defining moment. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. We got this. Coaches.
Can't control the uncontrollables, but you can control how the uncontrollables control you. We find ourselves in a situation far outside our control. But we need you guys to focus on what you can control, how you can support each other and your teammates. We need your perseverance. We need your strength more than ever now as we move towards our new normal. You call that running? Let's go. Hustle, 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 hustle. Win, win, win. Let's go. Move, move.
Hey Marauders, Coach Reed here from the Girls Lacrosse Program. I hope everybody's feeling well and staying active. I know it's difficult to lose our 2020 season, especially for our seniors. So stay positive, remember the good times you had with one another, and also remember to support one another. Stay safe, go Maroon.
Hi, Marauder Nation. Coach Bruce here from the boys rugby team. Hope you're all doing well during this time. We're really missing you guys and hope that you're staying safe. Seniors, we know you're disappointed about the loss of your season, but let's focus on all the great times that we've had. Underclassmen, you got big shoes to fill, and we look forward to working with that. On behalf of all the coaches, we miss you guys. Stay safe, stay well, and remember, this is more than a game.
Hey Belmont, it's Coach McCabe with the girls rugby team. Just wanted to say that we miss you so much. We wish we were at practice. I know you do too. One of the things that we talk about a lot is finding the next job. And I just want to say thank you for all the ways that you're finding the next job and supporting your family, your friends, the community as a whole, staying connected as a team. We see you. We're so proud of you. And we really can't wait to get back to finding the next job together again.
Hi Marauders, it's Coach Glass from the girls track and field teams. We miss seeing you in the fields and the track. We know it's been a trying time that's been challenging us in ways we never expected. Keep in mind that the lessons that you learn from your sports, that perseverance and resilience can help you overcome obstacles. Also that your team is only made stronger from the efforts of individuals. Care for yourselves, support one another from afar to make your team and your community stronger. Stay safe.
Belmont miss our team, miss coaching, miss you guys, especially the seniors. But let's not let the things we can't do keep us from the things we can do. Stay healthy, keep fit, keep running. Track will be back.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Brown here, BHS Baseball. Hanging out with some of my buddies in the neighborhood here. Really miss coaching you guys and gal. They're a bunch of turkeys. Right now is where we need to stay strong, stay positive, and most importantly, stay together. A shout out from the whole coaching staff to the 14 seniors who've committed and been dedicated over the past 4 years. We'll be swinging for the fences before you know it. Take us home, Coach Morse.
Hey Marauders, I wish I was coaching third base sending you home, but I'm glad you're doing your part and staying in your own homes. Remember to stay positive, stay healthy, and be there for each other. We are thinking of you all, especially our seniors. We miss you. We are in this together.
What's up, Marauders? How are you? This is Coach Colton, your tennis coach. I would like to send you my best wishes for all of you. It's been a difficult time for all of us, but this is like the same situation as a match. The 3 sets, only the best one and the strongest one mentally will win. So keep yourself active, do a little bit of workout, and please stay strong. And hopefully for the rest of you, see you next year. Bye-bye. Stay strong.
Okay. Hey Marauders, so much about our sport is using your feet and using your brain. So let's take a tip from the tennis team as we move forward. To get through this, stay active, get out there, move your feet, and also play a tough mental game. Stay positive. You can't win the match unless you believe you can win the match.
So, Marauder Nation, we're all in this together. You got this. Together we can do anything. Marauder pride is alive. Stay strong and live on. Let's go.
That's great. We've been speaking with, thank you, Jim. We've been speaking with Jim Davis, the athletic director for the Belmont Public Schools. You've been watching News Now, a production of the Belmont Journal. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Roger Colton. I will talk to you again next time.